Merry Christmas, friends. My name is Shanda. Welcome back to my channel. I live along the Continental Divide in Idaho, where it is snowing and mainly windy, but the wind is making the snow go almost horizontal. Today is Sunday, December 15th, and we're finally getting a little bit of snow, mainly a lot of wind, but it is blustery. Feels like Christmas. It feels like winter. We still have, what, 6 days to go until the first official day of winter. So, but I'm feeling cozy out here in my studio. I have my gas fireplace. I have a propane heater that's a freestanding stove over here in the corner, and the fire. Even my kitty is laying over there. He's in heaven. Today I thought I'd do something a little bit different. Show you the three that I'm currently WIPs that I'm currently working on. One I will have done this year, regardless. It's a Christmas one, Christmas stitch. And then I'm going to go to a few past Christmas finishes, projects, stitches that are all FFO'd. And then I'm going to do my 37 project WIP parade. January I have reserved for myself. I know that sounds kind of selfish, but I'm going to go into hibernation mode. I have been so busy doing customer quilts for Christmas and a few projects for others and my own sewing for others for Christmas that I absolutely love. But January I'm going to become a bear and I'm going to hibernate here in my studio. I hope my new glasses are not casting a shadow with my light ring, so I hope that's okay. Anyway, I've got projects lined up here against the back of my gammal. I'm using it as a runway, we'll call, for the next project that's going to come up. I have my pineapple quilt block table runner that I want to finish. I have, where did I put it? This is my oldest kit that I want to work on from Primitive Gatherings. It's called Antietam. Civil War Battle Series number 6. Antietam right down there. See if you can see that. A bunch of half square triangles. This is going to be my January project with triangle paper. And here is the kit. I probably bought this in 2006. So look at, and most of them are all Joe Morton. So I cannot wait to work on this in January. But for right now, let's get started, and we'll start with my 3 current WIPs in progress. Okay, my 3 current WIPs in progress, and then we will do my stitched finishes from Christmas. This video will probably be a little bit longer, but that's okay. I have a way I can upload it now. In my Christmas project bag, you saw this last video. This is Lori Rippey's 2023 The Holy Child. And I'm almost done with this. I set out last year to get this finished for this year, and it will be finished, but I don't think it will be framed. And the only thing I did different was I did my first top alphabet in this red of the houses. And this WIP is not ironed. None of my WIPs are ironed today. sad state, but there it is. Got the houses yet to finish. And my peacock is done down there. My Merry Christmas. I'm basically down to these two sections. The trees and that are in here, and then the houses. But the borders are all done. It all lines up, and I do apologize that this is such a mess for wrinkles, but it traveled with me over Thanksgiving in a suitcase, so it's bound to have some wrinkles, right? Just means that you've been working hard on your projects. 2023 Lori Rippey Homespun Prims, The Holy Child. And you can see I did my alphabet up here in the red. I just thought it showed up a little bit better. But I should probably have this done Christmas Eve, if not before. It's really close. Called for fabric. It's one by Seraphim. Seraphim 36 count old stationery. So called for flosses, called for everything. I just adored this last year when I saw it as a new release from Lori Rippey. And so it will be done this year. But she has so many wonderful designs. She's very addicting. The next one I've been putting some time into, I'm going to be taking a trip soon, like within the next couple of months, to Alaska to see my daughter. And I am trying to get this one finished. It's a Christmas stitch, although I'm turning it into a wedding sampler for them. And Heaven and Nature Sing. This one has been done by so many people, been stitched and looks beautiful. Mine, though, is on 25, 1/1, 25 count Lugana, 18 by 18 oatmeal, vintage cloth by Lori Holt. And I'm quite enjoying this Lugana stitch. It's going to be smaller, which is good. That's what I want. Anyway, here it is. I probably will get this really worked on in January because I'm going in February. I have a big birthday, a big one for me. And kind of was toying over what I wanted to do for this big birthday, make it kind of memorable. And I'm going to Alaska. So anyway, this is for my daughter, and I want to get it done and deliver to her, framed and all. I think I already did the measurements on this, and it will fit either in an 8 by 10 or an 11 by 14 very nicely. So, Heaven and Nature Sing by Kathy Barrick. Loving this stitch too. I think the thing I'm liking most about this stitch is the big pomegranate in the bottom, that pomegranate looking flower, this, which is already done on mine, this flower down here. And the fact that it's on 25 count, 1/1 Lugana. And that's a little bit different for me, but it's coming out very detailed, smaller, and I'm really enjoying, and it's going to be delivered in this bag. I'm enjoying this stitch. My daughter's a very outdoorsy person, so Elwyn J. Ranch, Adventure Awaits, Take Me to the Stars, Not All Who Wander Are Lost, Some Buffalo, Explore. This bag is going to her with the Heaven and Nature Sing stitch when it's done. People have been saying, are you crazy? You're going to go to Alaska in February? But I think I'm up for the challenge. She assured me, and she lives away from Anchorage, so she lives out on the Kenai Peninsula. So we'll see. But the tickets are bought, so I'm almost committed to go. The last one I've been wanting to work on, this was a Mania start in 2020, May of 2020, just as, you know, the pandemic and all that. But I have been thinking about this since last fall. And I really, really loved this when I first saw it stitched, the model stitched in, I don't know if it was Country Sampler or Shepherd's Bush. Not sure, but Hibernation Day by Heartstring Samplery. This is the perfect January stitch. The snow, the deer. It's not quite Christmas, but yet it's a January snowflakes. Talks about all that fun stuff. And I'm doing mine on doubloon, 28 count doublooned, 1/2, and it's actually got some pretty good coverage. I was impressed with the coverage on this. And I don't have a huge start, but I've got the house and a couple of the words. And this is like 328 by 50 something. Oh, 105 by 328. So I had one of the numbers right. But it only has 6 colors. So Hibernation Day, Heartstring Sampler, Beth Twist. She is such a humble person. Just love this. And this is from like 2023, maybe. Or not 2023, 2013. I saw, yeah, August of 2013. So, oh, I just love this. I can't wait to get one of those red buildings done. It's been on my radar since 2020 and figured it was time. I had a good sit-down little chat with myself, and there are 10 I'm going to be concentrating on in 2025. Hibernation Day and Heaven and Nature Sing, to get those done, are going to be my first 2. Holy Child will already be done. And then the last 7 I will show you here when I do my WIP parade. Okay, one of the funnest things for me to see on FlossTube in December is other stitchers' previous finishes. And the first one I'm going to start out with is, I did this a couple years ago, Sleigh Bells. And I had commented to Bonnie, Log Cabin Stitcher, hi Bonnie, that I would love to have bells. Hers was a pillow, and I would love to have a set of the bells. Well, last Christmas, I just threw this in this frame, and it's not even finished. Here it is laced on the back. It measures out at 4 by 11. And over the summer, she gave me, when I met up with her, she gave me a set of the bells. So I'm really toying with just attaching the bells up and around here somehow, or I'm not quite sure if I want to take this out. I have plenty of fabric. I could take this out and turn this into a pillow like she had, but it is a very tight fit. You can barely see the S on bells, and the sleigh runs right up to the frame. It's a pretty tight fit, so I haven't quite decided, but I will keep these together until I decide if I want to make this, keep it in the frame and just put the sleigh bells up here somewhere so it still jingles, or maybe even attach them to the frame. I'm not quite sure yet, but maybe down here. I don't know. I'll have to play with it. Anyway, sleigh bells. This piece is from, I want to say Country Rustic Prims, but I will also list that across the bottom. The next one is super old, and it's an embroidery project, but I love it. It's very primitive, and I love it. And I'm sorry, I will not even be able to tell you the designer. This is probably a good 12, 15 years ago I made this. It's just it says Woolies. It's a stocking, but and a red back. I've always decorated with this, and I usually leave this out through January. And I know I've given this chart away, this pattern, this embroidery, chart pattern. So I'm sorry. I do think it was called Woolies, though, if you want to look it up on eBay, Etsy, somebody. I have been so sick. Cough is just languishing. But that's why I didn't make a video. I actually recorded several weeks ago. I sounded terrible, so I'm re-recording. The next one is With Thy Needle and Thread, and I want to say it's Christmas at Winterberry Cabin. And this I just turned into a pillow. Put something down this side, across the bottom, on the back, and this one I just turned into a pillow. This is one of my favorites. And I will tell you that next video, I took cutting paper snowflakes and one other one to the framers, and I'll have them next time. I can't remember the other one I took, but I know cutting paper snowflakes was one of them. So I'll have them for you next time to see. But cutting paper snowflakes is very similar to this, except it's with a a snow woman, but it's with my needle and thread also. My favorite thing on these are these little houses all in a row. So you can see that. I go like this. With my needle thread, Brenda is classic. This one is a punch needle. Very first punch needle I did. It's not super great. Just a punch needle. It says Shanda 2008 on the back. A long time ago. 14 years now? 16 years. 16 years. My goodness. Time flies. This one, a girl, oh, and this one right here, it says, Peace to All This Christmas, 1809. My friend Cree made me that. And she also made this one, Sleigh, 1836. This is one, when we moved several times, 5 or 6 years ago, we were moving from an apartment into our refurbished farmhouse. And I could not find this. I could not find it for 4 or 5 years. 2 or 3 weeks ago, I drug out all my Christmas totes, condensed 11 totes down into 4. This was in one of them. So, and I believe this is also a country rustic chart. But Cree has a way of roughing up these frames, and then she puts like wrapping paper on the back. Oh, I just love it. Love it. Next one also is a punch needle, Santa. And this says Shanda 2009. So back then I was on a roll for punch needle, but I love the look of punch needle. Just that my wrist is not able to do as many punch needles as I used to be able to do. Gotta love it. This was done a couple years ago. Stone and Thread, which is a designer that's no longer in existence. But I do know it was a Stone and Thread. This little snowman and his scarf is sticking straight out from the wind. But that's one I can also leave up through January. Let's see if I can get the light off of this. Anyway, it's got a little easel back, and he sits most of the time he'll sit on my desk through January. Last year, and I apologize, this one looks really dusty because it's been out here in my studio when I was doing some dusting. Christmas Rose by Blackbird Designs. 36 count Wren by Picture This Plus with called for flosses. And up here I have my great maternal's initial, Henry. Goldie was his wife's name. Seabrass, which is not a name that's heard much. Henry and Goldie Seabrass, they were married in 1914, right around the time of the Christmas truce, which I find so interesting over in France, where during World War I, there were 3 sides fighting within the size of like a area like a football field. They called a Christmas truce. They married on the 15th of December, 1914. So that's the monogram HSG, Henry and Goldie Seabrass. Stitched by me. I started it March of 21 and I finished December 8th of 22. Oh, my light ring, sorry. But this is one of my very favorite Christmas pieces. Again, it is Christmas Rose by Blackbird Designs. 36 count Wren by Picture This Plus with called for threads. I'm reading my card on the back. One of my favorites. Coming down to the wire here. Parson Brown. This is an oldie for me. This is one, I probably did this 2008, 2009. But this is one, if you see in here, some of these stitches are going cattywampus. When my granddaughter Emma was 4, 5, 6 years old, she wanted to learn to cross stitch. And I left those cattywampus stitches in there. Some of them are, like I've mentioned before, 1/3. Some are, looks like, I don't know what, but I'm going to leave them in there. I want to leave them in there for her sake. And then she can inherit this down the line. Parson Brown, this is a Not Forgotten Farm chart. In the meadow, we can build a snowman. And he's all dapper there in his hat and shovel. Parson Brown, 1847. This one, too, is really old. It must have been on a woolen kick. Pull out the woolens, warm up the house. And I tea stained it. I have no idea at all who this maker is, this designer, but I loved it. Pull out the woolens, warm up the house. Probably stitched, let's see, we were in our big house in Boise, probably 2005-06. And this is filled with, I can tell it's filled with sawdust. Just sits on my bench. Last year, finished this one with Thy Needle and Thread, O Tannenbaum. Oh, love this one. Just love, love, love it. Christy stitched this with me. Marla stitched this with me. Boxes are still available from Beach Cottage Stitchers. Love it. Shanda Christmas 2003. So that one is just last year. This little tiny one is the only one I'm going to show. It's Christmas, real small, like a dough bowl filler. This one for some reason reminds me of Scrooge. Just maybe it's the font that it's in. I'm not sure. And this does look like it's going backwards, but hopefully this will come out right. The last stitch I want to show you was one of the very first stitches I remember making when I was newly married, and I'd been in a house for a while. We were living in a condo when we were first married that we had purchased. And then we went from this 900 square foot condo in Northern California to a 3,500 square foot home here in the Boise area. I'm actually up in the mountain house, but this is out of Better Homes and Gardens, December 1993. And I don't know if you could see that, but I have this finished stitch here for you. I can't show you the back because the chart is here. But here is my December 1893 O Tannenbaum. Again, Better Homes and Gardens, December of 1993. And this looks like it's maybe 30 count. It is stitched over 2. This is one of my faves. And here it is in the magazine. Again, one last time. Better Homes and Gardens, December of 1993. You can see that. Who knew? And I kept the chart all this time. I've kept this chart. Yeah. Fun, fun. All right. I'm going to clean up. And I also wanted to say that at the end of my WIP parade, that I'll do here next, I am going to talk a little bit about the building or the putting together, the structure, the construction of my quilt rack. So I've had several people ask me, they continue to email time and time again, and they want to know about my quilt rack. So I will explain that in the very end. Let me get cleaned up and I'll be right back. Okay, here we go. 37 WIPs I have left. Physically, anything that I put even one stitch in. I count a WIP because I fully intend to finish these. Considering I started out the pandemic with, I don't know, I just remember in 2021 I had close to 60. So I think I'm doing pretty good. I do have one new start. Will probably be Christmas Eve, but I'm counting that in these 37. So here we go. You can, I love, call me strange. I'm always strange, right? I do like to, when people start their WIP parades in January, I do like to sit down with a paper and pencil and write some of these down, because if I don't, I'll like, oh, who was it that had XYZ? And then I can go back and look at it and decide if I want to stitch it or not. But I do like, I'm a list girl. I'm a list girl. Coming to America with Thy Needle and Thread. And this one I have, oh, I don't know, it's a really sufficient start. This is in the bag. I even got the bag and made the bag for it. A little bit smaller than most bags, but I loved it. I got across the top, I got some seagulls, and I got down, the border's going down. This will not be, I will add, this one is not going to be one of my focuses for 2025. I have 10 focuses for 2025. 2 you've already seen, Heaven and Nature Sing and Hibernation Day. The other 8 are here in my bin in front of me, and I will do those at the end so they can be put away last and stored. The next one, Willing Hands, which is a stitch from the Sewing Club book from Blackbird Designs. And I know I looked at this the other day. It's in this book, Sewing Club. And it is phenomenal. This one is also going to be, I'll go this way, a stitch for next, not 25, but 26. Classic, need I say more? 32 count Abecedarian by R&R with called for threads. Real small start, but a start nonetheless. As we go along, I'm not pulling these out in any particular order, just the way they were stored in my tote. This one is just a simple, I loved this fabric. It looks like a bunch of tavern names and whatnot from England. And this has, I know this has Miss Bingley's Library. "20 Count Cork" in Prairie by Lori Holt is what I'm stitching it on. Some of these I decided to do just smaller, and I don't stitch on 40 count. Obviously my new glasses are an indicator that I am trying to finish up the ones, the stitches that I already have started that are on smaller counts. My needle keeper says, "My good opinion, once lost is lost forever," because it's a Jane Austen stitch, right? And I've got the roof line, the top of the house done on this one, or the roof. All that fill in. 20 count cork. I just love the variegation of this. And it looks like I am doing 2 over 1, obviously, but I am using the specialty threads. I've heard them called fancy flosses. I've heard them called lots of different things. I like stitching with those. They add an antiqueness to it. Be exceedingly diligent. In all things, be exceedingly diligent. Needlework press. Here is what it looks like. And I have my working copy in here. I also have the new one in here, her newer one. I believe Christy, I know Christy's done this. I've seen it on her wall. And Be Kind to One Another. Needlework press. But here is my exceedingly diligent 36 count platinum Edinburgh linen called for flosses. This one I know I did not. I worked on this at Maggie's one time. And I didn't get a very far start, but hey, there's a stitch. If there, in my book, if there's a stitch in it, it's a work in progress. That's just how I roll. This is one of the older kind of bags, pouches I used to make with the vinyl front. I just prefer the other kind now so that my chart doesn't stick to this vinyl. Just personal preference, right? Next one, on Stoneware Street, the Scarlet House. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4 colors in this. And this one, I think is, no, I take that back. The New Start, the heap on, the New Start I have is probably the smallest. But this one is 32 count Chessie's Mill Linen by R&R. And I got, excuse me, and I got the windows done. It's a start. I'm not doing these just to abandon them. I think in my whole entire stitching career, I've abandoned 3. I've unkitted 3. So, classic for fall, Away We Ride by Blackbird. This one is on Weeks Tin Roof, 30 count, and it's with called for threads. Uh-oh, do I have a needle? I do. I better be careful. Put my needle in here. I promise as we get down in here, more of these are completed, or at least started a little bit. I'm not even oh, it goes this way. Oh, that's it for that one. Again, not very far along, but I fully intend to finish these. So they are a WIP. Next one, I'm pretty sure is Peace. Yep, Peace and Goodwill. This one, I was going to work on this one for 2024. And with the Christmas Rose one I did and the Holy Child one I just did, I needed a break from the sampler style with the red houses. That's why I'm doing this other New Start that I'll show you in a moment. But Jessie and Me, I still love it. I will finish this. And I'm not sure what this fabric is. Anyway, there it is. It's my, looks like I started to do the one line is all Smyrna crosses or stars. So I am doing this one has quite a bit of, as in classic Jessie and Me style, quite a bit of fancy stitches in it. I've seen this one in person, stitched at Country Sampler, and it is over the moon. Called for is, you know what? I take that back. Called for is 36 count vintage flagstone by Lakeside Linens. I must have purchased the kit, not the kit, but the chart from them because it has the conversion by Country Sampler flosses. So I have the conversion. And the fabric is 32 count Lugana Over the Moon. It's funny that I said this chart was over the moon. But I am loving it. Love, love, love. In one of the bags I made from A Christmas Line by Joe Morton. Oh, I just love Joe Morton. I love that woman. Berry Cottage by Plum Street Samplers. And this one, I know I started once, but then made a mistake because it was like, wait, there's some over one there. But I love the sheep. You see that? And this is on 36 count Barb's Blend by R&R. And I am starting this one again, but I'm counting this as a WIP because there's nothing on here. But I want to say I started it like on, I don't know, 25, 28, but I couldn't do an over one on that. So I picked a different fabric, and that's what this one is. But I just have it still all kitted up, and I am counting this one as a WIP because who knows where the other has started, but it will get worked on. This was in a strawberry bag that I made, chocolate covered dipped strawberries. And again, I'm not making many of these bags anymore. I like the zip top ones with the white label on them because I found that this sticks to your, and it's not my favorite. I have no idea what number we're on. I'm sure maybe some of you do. The Scarlet House, the Little Deed Sampler. Brenda started this and finished it. I've seen it on her wall. She's had it framed. Ooh, I love this fabric. Ooh, this is a 40 count. This is probably one I need to work on with my eyes going crazy. 40 count linen vintage country mocha by Zweigert. And I can't remember now. Somebody please remind me. It's got the orange thing through it. But there's just a small little star on that one. But I love the color. It's a beautiful, beautiful color. From Maggie's on Main. My local LNS that I don't get to as often now. But when I'm in town, I definitely frequent that shop. My Dear Hearts. This is one I'm doing for my mother's family. Blackbird Designs. See, there's initials all over, and I'm going to put their initials in here to commemorate my mother's family and all her siblings. This was a 2020 Mania 2020 start. I still have about probably 6 or 8 of those 2020 Mania starts left. That was the year. The only year I started 31. I started one a day because I didn't have any WIPs back in 2020. Everything I had was pretty much done. I was spending a lot of time quilting, piecing and quilting. And so I started 31. And most of them I've gotten done. I'm down to about 6 or 8. I don't know what this is stitched on. My Dear Hearts started 5/23 of 20. It looks like it is a Weeks Dye Works, a tin roof, but all I have is this green border done. See that? This is quite embarrassing. I didn't know I had quite so many that were barely started. But I don't have the fabric written down anywhere. That surprises me for 2020 because, you know, what we had all the time. I don't want to say we had all the time in the world, but I probably had more time then than I do now. And I don't know what I started it on. That's a very pretty fabric. This next one is in my Boise State bag, and I am so proud of them. They have made it to one of the seeded spots for the college national championship. They had a bye. So I do know December 31st, we are going to the Fiesta Bowl. This is our 3rd time to the Fiesta Bowl. But then in the past, it's always just stopped at the Fiesta Bowl. We won the first 2 Fiesta Bowls that we were in. This will be the 3rd. And if we win this, we go on. So I just hope they win at least one of their games. But yeah, my Boise State bag. This is Stacy Nash Primitives Berry Basket Sewing Tray. And I'm going to have some sunlight coming in here, so I hope it coordinates with me. It cooperates with me. Maybe that's the word I want to use. 28 count sand even weave. And here's part of the bunting. Sure hope this comes through. You can kind of see my start there. Yes, I'm quite embarrassed. I had no idea. I had quite so many that were not. But some of these are smalls, you know, that weren't as far along as I thought they were going to be. George Decorates for Martha. This was a kit from Dying to Stitch way back in the day. I am in love with George Washington. And seeing that next year, 2026, not 2025, is the 250th anniversary of our nation. So some of these will get pulled out and really hit on in 2026. This is a fall one, but nonetheless. This was a kit. Oh, very sad start. I'll see if I can find the linen here in a minute. Sad, sad start. Fabric is 36 count Colonial Brown by R&R, because they did all their own. But it came with the chenille, it came with the flosses, it came with the backing, it came with everything. And I do want to finish this because I do like it. George Decorates for Martha. And this is in it's a little bird bag with red on the back, but you can see the little birds. Oh, I sure hope the sun cooperates. I don't want to be bleached out. And I don't have a shade on my door anymore to pull down. Sunflower and Bees bag. Threadworks Primitives Tall Trees coverlet. This reminds me of antique coverlets that I have a few of. A real small start. It's all one color. Looks like Tarragon by Weeks Dye Works, and I have no clue what fabric this is on. Mystery, let's go like this. Mystery linen. But this one's really small. This one wouldn't be nothing at all, and this one would be done. All Joys for Line. This was a it is a Blackbird design. This was a Mania start in 2020, May of 2020. That's really the only year I participated in Mania. Maybe because I felt like I had started so many. But All Joys for Thine started 5/9 of 20. There it is. 28 count linen is all it says. Sorry. This one I'll put on here because it does look like I have a bulk of the order done. At least count it out and they're not crossed the other way, but obviously the sun is coming out from our little blizzard we had. The Woolly U, Autumn at Sunflower Ridge. My favorite thing about this chart is the pennies on this side. Right here. Right here. And the Cheddar House. Autumn at Sunflower Ridge started 5/21 of 20, so this also was a Mania start. And if I remember right, I didn't have a lot. 18 count natural undyed linen. This is one that looks like burlap. Back in 2020, I did not have a lot of linen to choose from because of the pandemic. So I was stitching pretty much on what I had, but that's what I have. So it looks like I have one of the corners right up here started. here and the zigzag across the top. But this one is 144 by 107. Being blessed with moving home, I have had a lot of quilting customers come out of the woodwork, which has been nice. I had them before and then I moved away, and it was good to see them all again. Descending Sun by Samplers Not Forgotten. Count that day lost, whose low descending sun derives from my hand no worthy action done. Sorry, the sun is just not going to behave. Big red house. This linen looks amazing. 32 count Wren Belfast linen. You can tell I started on the house. I challenge each of you, this might be my challenge for this video, but I challenge each of you to seriously go through your cross stitch and have a look at what you have. I had a good time doing this. I didn't physically open up each project bag, but I at least have them on a Excel spreadsheet, and I keep track of the stitch count and yeah, how many I have mainly. This is 37 for me. That's what I have started, including the new start that I literally have like 5 stitches in. But I'm getting them down. I'm cranking them out. I'm whipping them out. I'm finishing them up. This one might be out of print. I don't even know if it's in one of the Blackbird design books. Maggie Bononomy, Union Forever. This would be a perfect one for 2026. Again, I didn't have a lot of linens and whatnots to choose from, so this looks like, let's see if I'm holding this the right direction. It's going to be this way. It's a sad start. Go like this. It looks like it's actually, it looks like it's this. It's part of the thistle flower and the star. Really sad start, but it is a start. It is a start. I'm counting it because it is a work in process. This bag, I'm learning, still learning, continue to learn. I like to learn my whole life. Oops, let me put this in the front so I can tell what it is. To fly fish. That's my fly fishing bag that I found some fabric for and went, oh, I got to have a fly fishing bag. Union Forever, Blackbird Designs. And, well, actually, it's Maggie Bononomy. I'm not sure if that's in print still or not. Ooh, we're getting down to the wire here. My Holly Hobby bag. I grew up with Holly Hobby. And Betsy Clark is one of my viewers. Reminded me of her friend's name. But yet, I don't know who this little guy's name is. Not a clue. Little boy. Holly Hobby. This one has Cinnamon Stars in it by Paulette Stewart, Plum Street Samplery. And there it is. I started this shortly after I saw it being worked on by a fellow stitcher over in the Missoula, Montana Northwest Primitive Stitcher Retreat, fall of 21. Carol was stitching this. I am stitching mine on 36 count Dirty Teacup. And this one has quite a lot going on in the house. Yeah, 36 count dirty teacup by Needle and Flax. Got the house going on. The last couple of months I do have a confession. I feel like I've been more of a monogamous stitcher. Pick one, work on it, finish it. My Noel sampler I got done, and it is not at the framers, but it's over there to be framed. So I will show you that next time. I was stitching that with my friend Christy. That got done, and now I'm working on the Holy Child. Since there's a Christmas, I tend to stitch in season. Sometimes I don't. But I think total this year I got done was 12. Some were gifts. So, Winter Rose Manor by With Thy Needle and Thread. This one I know I started the night of, it was December of 20. It was the winter solstice, and we also had a Christmas star conjunction that night as a heavenly, and I thought this one would be perfect to start that night. So I did. I raced home after, I remember we were working on our farmhouse, and I raced home to the apartment and decided I was going to get this one started so I could say this was a winter star start. And mine is started on, got the roof outlined. This one is on, I got the frame, the pretty little scalloped frame. I can't find my fabric though. Cannot find the fabric. Oh yeah, this was one that I was debating whether I was going to be able to fit in the frame or not. 32 count Lugana in Wren by Picture This Plus. Here's my, but I liked the color. It's my house. It doesn't have much past there. Just my house roof. Quilt Crossing is where I used to work in the Boise area. A wonderful quilt store. Now they have JK Quilts. They have Maggie's on Main out in Emmett. A lot of good places down there. We don't have a lot of places. We only used to have 2, and now we have Maggie's. But Maggie's, as far as I know, is really the only one that carries cross stitch. So the next one is the Lucy Mac sampler. This also is by Lori Rippey. Homespun Prims by Lori from 2016. Has one of the stanzas from Come Thou Font of Every Blessing. I'm stitching this on 32 count lamb's wool by Welch Perman Linen. I want to say this was I can't remember if this was maybe a 2020 start. Let me see if I wrote it down. Well, it was started November 5th of 20. And this one I have quite a bit started. I think I can show this without got most of the border. Oh, you can see my arm. Most of the border, there we go. Most of the border and down and around, but not quite all finished. Actually, the border is all there. The border is all there. Oh, love this. I have loved this chart for a long, long time. And this one is in a bag that I purchased. PT bags, probably off, I know it was off of Etsy. Lucy Mac Sampler by Homespun Prims by Lori. Next one is, I want to say Mary Briggs 1806, because I recognize the bag. Yep. Mary Briggs 1806. On 28 count linen vintage country mocha. And this one I remembered I was stitching this. I wanted this big, so I'm doing this 2/2. I'm sorry, I've got my E and my F, part of the middle, but I wanted this one big because I do want to hang it up in a library. So, gotta love that vintage country mocha. Yeah, I just have the E and the F and then part of the GH, the big letters there. Done. In a bag that I made with some fabric that is like a toile with a sewing club, and I did not have much of it left over, so patchwork pumpkin by Blackbird Designs. This was also a Mania start. I don't know why I have this other fabric in here. By Fox and Rabbit. Maybe I was thinking about starting it over. I'm not sure. Real small start on that one. Yeah, started 5/3 of 20. Those Blackbird Designs, you know, you see all the little bibs and bobbles and all that. And you're like, oh boy, I hope I don't forget any of them. And then you get it done and you're like, this is exactly what I was thinking it would be. Another Holly Hobby bag. This is the kind that have the vinyl on the front. A Merry Heart. My girlfriend Christy gave this to me. I love those flowers. I just love those flowers. And this one had a beautiful border started. Early Christmas Morning by Blackbird Designs. This one I thought I did the conversion from Country Sampler, but I guess not. And this fabric is called Old New England 36 Count by Primitive Hair. Oh, it is a gorgeous color. I just have the house started. Two more. This one's called Early Christmas, The Bells on Christmas Day. From the book, The Bells on Christmas Day by Blackbird Design. Here's my fabric. Doubloon 28 count, Picture This Plus. Cannot go wrong with Blackbird Design. And this bag is one that I made a long time ago. They're mainly for knitting. It's vinyl on both sides with a little web handle. From my friend Jane, the Practical Project bag mainly. I use them for my knitting, but I'm not knitting as much anymore. So, and the last one here before I take a break, I'm definitely starting over. But this is one of my to-dos for 2026. American Sampler. Love that stately house. 227 by 189. And I'll show you what I started it on something that I loved the feeling of. But it's just going to be way too big. Way too big. I started it on... I don't even know what. But it's really thick, heavy cloth, almost like a tablecloth linen. But it just is going to be way, way too big. So I'm going to start this one over. It doesn't look like I've pulled anything, but I'm definitely going to be starting this one over. And I'm calling this a WIP because it started. Perfect stitch for 2026. Okay, those are the main WIPs that I'm going to be pushing to 2026 and beyond. But the other 7, 8 I have down here, I'm going to clean this mess up and I'll be right back. Okay, my last 8. These are the 8 along with the other 2 that I showed at the beginning. Holy Child, I'm going to finish in 2024. Then January of 2025, I'm going to focus on And Heaven and Nature Sing for my daughter so I can take that to her in Alaska. And Hibernation Day. These other 8 I will focus on then through the rest of the year. And I would be ecstatic if I can get these 8 done. But part of me says that's a lot of pipe dreams. But because they're just some of my very favorite WIPs that I want to get done and leave the rest then for 2026, I'd be so happy. First one, of course, is a ginormous. Where's my picture? It is the ginormous of all ginormous. His Eyes on the Sparrow. And I do have a really good start. Mine is, first of all, let me show you. It's going to be smaller because mine is on, I want to say 25 count, 1/1, 25 count vintage country mocha. Am I doing 1/1? 1/1, and it's got good coverage so far. I've got the tree and some of the words, the tree at the bottom. But as you can tell, this is not going to be as big as others that are being done on 36 or even 40. This is a big stitch. It's like a 400 and something, 435 by 363. And I just don't have the room in my house for something that big. So I'm making it smaller. It's going to be, I think I've done the math. And it was here somewhere. I apologize. But I've done the math. And it comes out much, much smaller on this 25 count vintage country mocha. And that's what I've gotten done. But if I don't, I've got part of the border there and most of the tree. I just don't have the room in my home for something. It's a beautiful stitch. I love it. But I just cannot do it on 36 count. It would be way too big. I will be changing the color of the house to the red or blue. I haven't quite decided that yet. But His Eyes on the Sparrow, Beth Twist, Heartstring Samplery. I don't think I will be doing Consider the Lilies, mainly because I just want to do one. His Eyes on the Sparrow has a little bit more meaning to me. So that's one of the 8, one of the 10 I will be concentrating on in 2025. The next one I want to concentrate in 2025. Am I saying that right? That just seems like such a long ways away, but it's not. Sarah Casey Unwin, Chessie and Me. I believe this is called for threads, called for fabric. Needle and Flax, 36 count Bray. B-R-E-A, Bray. I don't think that's what's called for, but I sure like it on here. And this is my start. And I know this is a big one too. There's 3 big girls in here. Like I said, we can all have pipe dreams, right? 291 by 243. So it's not as big as His Eyes on the Sparrow, but pretty close to it. In my little sheet bag from So Much to Love. This was, this is the one I started with 3 stitches. This is on 36 count Ren I picture this plug, a plus 36 count Wren, Edinburgh 36 count, literally 3 starts, 3 stitches, Freedom Blue, and it was a downloadable pattern, 1776, designs by Sub Rosa. But this one is super small. Where did I see it? 93 by 120. I think the biggest thing on that one will be the house and the flag. That one's a definitely a manageable pipe dream. Part of my dragging of the feet on this one is that it is just so honkin' big. I am talking about Little Birds by Blackbird Design. But my border is done. My border matches up. I'm now starting to work on these motifs here. This alphabet is done. I'm working on these motifs. It's just that the fabric is so hard to manage. I'm going to put my bag down because it's going to take all I have just to hold this. 36 count, I want to say, I'll look it up here in a minute. See if you can see all of it. But I've got a border done, the inside triangle little border done. Hope you're seeing this in the same frame that I am. I don't know. I mean, I'm even starting to get dog ears, what we call in quilting world dog ears on this from holding it up so much. Beautiful sampler. It matched all the way around the border. Did. Heartland, that's what it is. 32 count Heartland. And this one I started a long time ago. Started July 4th of 20. So I think I started this on what I could get. But I am so far into it now, I'm not going to give it up. This will be the biggest one, I think, in my house. Hanging on the wall. But when I don't want to say I'm dreading this. It's just that when you're working on it, it is so hard to manage all this fabric. It'll get some TLC here in 2025. Looks like I have 4 more. Then I'm part of my 10. I guess I could say 10 and 25. If I get them done, it would be a miracle, but I don't know. We'll see. The next one, Turkey Hollow Farm in my Christy bag. Christy from Crosshatch Quilts sent me this. Love that woman. I love all the stitchers. They're just, this community is just amazing. Border, which is typical of me, the turkey and part of the fence. But it matched up too, so it's almost like when I know the border's going to match up, I put it away. Why do I do that? I don't know. It's like, oh, okay, I know it's going to all come out in the end. And I just put it away. Am I seeing a pattern here? Turkey Hollow Farm, Stacy Nash. Sorry, I forgot to show you the cover to that if you're a new stitcher. This one's, I don't know why. Oh, I'm stitching it on Fiber on a Whim 36 count cream and sugar. And here's the picture. Part of me too is when I had that wild hair brain 3 or 4 weeks ago and I took 11 Christmas totes and condensed them down to 4. I'm not wanting to leave a lot of this stuff for my kids. My daughter would probably love it, but I want these things finished. I don't mean this in a bad way. I just don't want to be known for somebody who started all these projects and then never finished them. That's not why I stitch. I am a process stitcher. I like following the process through because I'm also a retired accountant. Everything balanced, or it was out of sync. Well, that's kind of how I feel about my stitching. It matches, the borders match, and it's done. And Maybe that's my type A personality coming out. I'm not sure, but okay, 3 more. Oh, I think in February I'll do a what I have kitted parade, because I have more kitted than what I have works in progress. I have a lot kitted, and I think I'll do that in February for my FlossTube. This one is At Home. Oh, love this. At Home by Brenda Gervais with Fine Needle and Thread. This one I started last New Year's Eve with my friend Marlis. And I believe Christy was looking at doing this one too. Oh, the colors in this one. Oh yeah, this is the one my granddaughter was learning to write. She was in kindergarten. She wrote 36 Affogato. Fiber on a Whim. I was telling her how to spell it, and she was, you know how kindergartners do. They kind of run off to the end and then right up and down and every which direction. This was my then 6-year-old granddaughter, 5-year-old granddaughter. So 36 count Affogato, Fiber on a Whim. Oh, not the same granddaughter that was working on Parson Brown. Here is my start. It's a beautiful border. Oh, it's going to be a beautiful border. And I did start this on New Year's Eve of 23. So at the beginning of beginning of the new year 2024. Yeah, At Home started, oh, sorry, New Year's Day. At Home started 1/1 of 24, 36 count Affogato Fiber on a Whim. Beautiful called for colors. That's a big one though too. 250 by 248. 2 more here on my lap. This one I know is Grateful, Thankful, Blessed. In my bird bag. I made one of these bags for my friend Marlis. 20 count vintage country mocha Ada fabric. I have Grateful in the House done. Don't know if you can see that. So now I'm down to just the pumpkin and the people, and this is what it looks like. Grateful, Thankful, Blessed. Brenda Gervais. This one is well worn. You can tell by my... Yeah. Beautiful chart. And the last one is my new start. I am counting this as a WIP. Not one stitch does it have in it, but I'm counting it. I have looked at this, went to start it a couple times, got interrupted. This is going to be my Christmas sampler start for the year. I know it's about the conversion from Country Sampler with the threads. It is called Heap on the Wood. And it's different than other Christmas charts, and that I just got kind of, I needed a break from the ABC samplers and the alphabet. So this is the one I'm doing for next Christmas. Heap on the wood, the wind is chill, but let it whistle as it will. We'll keep our Christmas merry still. I am doing this on, well, I have 2 here. Maybe I haven't decided. Oh no, it's just one. 28 count Cashel Linen Salt Rock by Crescent Colorworks. And it is stitched on, the called for was 36, I want to say. Well, Country Sampler did it on 30 count tin roof linen. The called for, is 32 count beige linen by Weeks Dye Works, but I'm going to do mine on 28 count. I don't know yet This is a linen, so I'll probably end up going over 2. But I just loved the color with these flosses. Keep on the wood. And this one I do plan on starting here, maybe Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, maybe New Year's Eve when I'm watching the Boise State football game, because I do want to get a good start on that. And then in January, I'm hitting Hibernation Day and Heaven and Nature Sing. I would like to get that done, like I said, for my daughter to take with me to Alaska when I go in February. I have been busy with a lot. I have a teacher friend that is having twin girls, and I made a set of twin quilts for her. I've been doing a lot of quilting, both for myself, for Christmas gifts, for my customers. But like I said, January is going to be a very quiet hibernation month for me. I'm going to be like a bear and just come out here in my studio. I have my heat source, my propane fireplace. It's freestanding back there. That keeps me warm and cozy, and just let the wind whistle as it will and let the snow fly. I hope we get some snow. Today it's the first snow we've had really all season. So we had a little bit and then it melted, and here we are. But I hope to get this video up. I'm going to take a break here now and insert the thing on my quilt rack that so many people have wanted to know about, how my husband built it. And he's not a carpenter, so if he can do it, you all can do it. So I'll take a break and be right back. Okay, this is my quilt rack, and I did measure it. It's about 28 feet long, and I will insert some pictures at the end of the video. I'm not good at doing that in the middle where I'm talking. It seems like my mouth then doesn't catch up with my words, and it's kind of weird. But you can see right here, I got these brackets at Hobby Lobby. There's 4 of them across here. So I take that back. I'll put the dimensions of this down here across the screen. But there are 4, probably about a 12-footer. I bet it's about a 12-foot quilt thing, not 28. I don't know what I was thinking. But I do have, anyway, I have 4 of these wrought iron brackets that I got from Hobby Lobby. And they have a star in the middle of them. The top board is a 1x9. The bottom board is a 1x7. And then my husband just took regular pegs, drilled a hole, and we glued those in there with wood glue after I had painted my board. Now, I've also had a lot of people say, well, don't your quilts get all, messed up from hanging? 2 things. I move these quilts around a lot. I use them in decorating. I take them in the house. Like right now, I'll flip this over and hang this up differently. So that they don't always get like an indentation or a divot in them. The other thing is, none of these quilts are bigger than probably a full at the most. Most of them are twins, so the weight does not pull them down to where they get a permanent crease in them from the peg on the rack. It can hold 20. I've got 20 quilts lined up against here. And then I have some stacked over here against, on top of my fabric storage shelves. But there's 20 quilts along here, and none of the pegs have ever broken out. It does act as wall insulation. So if your hubby or significant other or whoever starts to complain that you have too many quilts, this is an outside wall on my quilting studio. And that's some pretty good insulation hanging along there. So quilts for your walls, right? But I do have 4. Again, I have 4 of these that help support my top shelf that has all my goodies on it. 1x9 I can't remember if it was 1x7 and 1x9 or vice versa, but however long this is, your bracket is what goes on the top. In fact, let me take a break here and I'll grab a tape measure. Yeah, I just measured, and this one is a 1x7. The top one is a 1x9. And nothing has ever fallen off of here. They haven't fallen, stuff hasn't fallen off. The pegs have not broken off. Then he just went through and everywhere where there was a stud in the wall, he put a big long lag screw. Like I said, I will include some pictures at the end. I get more compliments and questions on this quilt wall than I do anything else, really. Even on, I get personal emails to me, and I had one of these in our house that we had that we'd built in Boise, and our kids were always coming over, getting their quilt, cuddling up, watching a movie, doing whatever. And it was just a great way to storage quilts. So when my husband converted this carriage garage to my quilt studio, I said, I want one of those racks to display and hold most of my quilts. So it's been a huge, it wasn't a huge undertaking in the beginning, but it was worth it. Again, 1x7 here, 1x9 here, pegs just drilled, however big the peg is, drilled, wood glued in there, dried for probably a good week. Between the paint, the glue, I let everything cure for a long, long time. And then we have 4, I think you can see it, 4 of these wrought iron brackets that help hold up that top shelf. So thank you for everybody who's asked me questions about that. This has kind of spurred me to do a little segment on my quilting shelf wall. And like I said, it is a good insulator. I think if I was to take all those quilts off, I'd have a little bit colder studio to work in. So I wish everybody a Merry Christmas. This year, we all need to turn inward and think of those that are around us. Think of our neighbors. I've had a lot of people ask, are you ready for Christmas? And I've always said, Christmas to me this year is not a day, it is a season. And I wish everybody a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I think we all need a very solemn but quiet holiday to have us spark our mood for the new year and to spend with family and friends and to look at those around you that are either less fortunate or lonely, and share your bounty with them. Share your love of stitching, share your love of cooking, share your love of sourdough bread, share your love of whatever it is that can make their day just a little bit better and happier. I will see you probably late January. I know it won't be early February. I will be in Alaska. But if it is not late January, like I said, I'm kind of hogging that month for myself. Total selfishness, but I need to get some things done. So maybe mid to end of February when I get back from Alaska. I will mention here, my trip to Illinois was wonderful. And on the way back, I stopped for a half an hour at Country Sampler. And bless your guys' hearts, you recognized me and hauled me back to Boxwood and Berries, the retreat that was going on there. And I got to meet everyone. And it was just a huge blessing in my day. I had no makeup on. I was in traveling clothes, sweats, t-shirt. I was not presentable at all. And everybody made me feel so welcome. So that was a big blessing for my trip home. We made it without incident, although the last day, 3/4 of a day, was terrible snow. I got to see Marlis in North Dakota. Hi, Marlis. I got to see and just be with family and some stitchers. Unprepared being with stitchers. But I did make plans ahead of time to be with Marlis, which was a very nice visit. And I got to spend some time with her and her husband in a quick lunch stop in North Dakota. And then after that night in Billings, Montana, it got blustery cold and snowy. So we kind of had a hair-wrecking day coming home, but here I am set to go off to Alaska again. So different part of the country, but still more snow. So anyway, Merry Christmas to all of my followers. Thank you for your comments. And happy stitching. Stitch by the fireside. Stitch with a cup of chamomile tea. Stitch with those you love. Go stitching into a group. Just enjoy yourself and the holiday and the season that it is for the birth of our Savior, Jesus Christ. Thank you, and I'll see you probably in February.